So today we're going to be talking about trigonometry substitution. So basically, in trigonometry substitution, especially in integral, is there are certain rules and instructions that we must follow. Well, it depends on the given. So let's say if we have, you know, a squared minus u squared. So basically, this is the constant, and this is the u. So if we have a constant before the variable or the u, so our x would be equal to a sine theta, and it yields to a cos theta. And if we have a different, a similar given like this, but in different sign, specifically less, so our x would be a tan theta, and it yields to a sec theta. So if the x or the u value present in the first terms as first term, so that would be equal to x. Our x would be equal to a secant theta, and it yields to a tan theta. So to give you a little review, so I have example right here that we can solve. So let me just remove this. So tandaan nyo yun. So look at the denominator. So we present here the square root of x squared minus 4. So as usual is look for the formula, or the formula similar for what I presented a while ago. So x squared minus 4, nauna yung x before the constant. So determine natin kung ano yung a squared and x squared. So our a right here is the constant, which is 4. And since this is a squared, square root natin both sides and cancel. Our a now is 2. Now the x. So our x here is just x squared. I mean the u. So this is x squared. Well, simply x. Okay, since it is the square root of x squared minus 4, basically the x is equal to a secant theta. And you have to differentiate this. So the derivative of x would be dx. So since our a is 2, so we have to derive it. So that would be 2. So the derivative of secant, that would be secant theta tangent theta d theta. And it yields to a tangent theta. So since our a is 2, this would be 2 tangent theta. So substitute natin tong dx and yung mga value from the original equation. So here, the integral of dx. So dx natin is 2 secant theta tangent theta times d theta all over, so x squared. So basically our x here is a secant theta. Since our a is 2, this would be 2 secant theta, but it is raised by 2 since x squared. And itong value na to, that would be what it yields to. So basically 2 tangent theta. Well, as we have noticed, pwede itong mawala, pwede itong makancel, and pwede itong makancel, and isa na lang yung matitira from 2 seconds squared raised by 2. So basically, yung bagong equation would be d theta all over, so 2 times 2, that would be 4, and secant theta. Well, since may constant sa loob, pwede natin siyang ilabas. So 1/4 integral of d theta all over secant theta. So since 1 over secant theta, that would be equal to cosine theta. So 1/4 integral of cosine theta d theta. And you have to integrate this, so the integral of cosine theta is sine theta plus t. So, hindi pa yan yung final answer. Since trigonometry substitution to, and naka-sine, basically, sine is equal to SOA, so SOA. So, that would be opposite over hypotenuse. So, take a look sa x natin. So, balik tayo dito sa x. So, since our x is 2 secant theta, so divide na dito both side para makuha natin yung identity. So, this would be cancelled. So, x squared equal to secant theta. Since on secant theta, so its reciprocal identity is cosine, and cosine is SOCA. So basically, cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. But since nakasecant to, kukunin natin yung reciprocal identities. So basically, secant now, or secant x is equal to hypotenuse over adjacent. So, binaliktad mo lang ito. So, from here, basically, yung x would be the hypotenuse. And the other one, the denominator would be the adjacent, which is 2. So, dito tayo sa right triangle. So, kailangan natin bumuo ng right triangle. So, our hypotenuse right here is x. This is the theta, by the way. And this is the opposite, which is opposite is what we're looking for. So, question mark. And then the adjacent would be 2. So, since this is right triangle, Pythagorean theorem. So, a squared plus b squared plus c squared. So, this is b, this is c, this is a. So, yung a natin is 2. 2 squared plus b squared, which is yung unknown. Oh, this is equal to c squared, so our c is x squared. So simplifying this would be equal to 4 plus b squared equal to x squared. And transpose natin tong 4 here. So this would be equal to b squared equal to x squared minus 4. And then square both sides para ma-cancel on 2. And this would be b is equal to square root of x squared minus 4. And this would be our adjacent. So, balik tayo dito sa secant. So, secant now is equal to hypotenuse. So, our hypotenuse here is equal to x. And since may 1/4 dito, I mean, sa sine pala. Since may 1/4 doon, 1/4 sine, that is opposite over adjacent. So our opposite, hindi pala to adjacent. This would be, this should be the opposite. Since ang opposite natin is the adjacent is x. So sine SOHCAHTOA, that would be opposite over hypotenuse. Since ang opposite natin is ito, this would be equal to 1/4 times x squared minus 4 over the hypotenuse, which is x plus c. And multiplying natin to would be 1 times the square root of x squared is equal to x squared. Square root of x squared minus 4 over 4 times x is 4x. And plus c. And this would be the final answer.